Let's face it, guys, times are hard. Jobs are scarce, and the job market is saturated right now with people looking for decent jobs. Businesses are either closing or downsizing. There's more and more people out there competing for the same jobs. Very, um, very qualified, educated people, younger people. So if you're over 60, ageism does exist. It's just the way it is. So we are on the bottom of the list to get hired. And if you can find a job that is legal, pays fairly decent, and is something that you're actually capable of doing, then where's the shame in that? That's what I'm doing with Uber. You know, it's not my dream job and it's not a career, but there was no waiting list. I actually enjoyed doing the work, and it pays pretty good. So I'm going to talk about it because quite a few people have asked me about it, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to let you guys know from somebody that's actually doing it. Because let me tell you, people that aren't doing it have some very strong opinions as to why you shouldn't do it. And I just think, it's better to hear from somebody that actually knows what it's about. And like I said, I'll give you some pointers and some tips, and I'll explain to you from my observation what it's like being an Uber delivery driver. Okay, first things first, you got to have a car. It's got to be a 2011 or newer. It's got to be insured. You have to be a licensed driver. And I think you have to pass a background check. I guess they don't want, I don't know, just anybody delivering food, right? So if you can, manage that and pass the background check, you're hired. Oh, you got to be over 19, and I think less than 100. Oh, hey, before I forget, here's a link to a video I just did about 2 weeks ago talking about the good, the bad, the creepy side of doing Uber delivery. It was interesting, and just so you can see what you're dealing with, because sometimes it's interesting, and I talk about that in this next video. But anyway, I just wanted to put this link up there for you. But let's get back to the other video. Yep, that's right. You read that right. I'm 63 and I'm doing Uber. Who'da thunk it? Not me. Not a year ago when I was working what was considered a normal, respectable job, doing art therapy with autistic adults. But here I am, and I'm loving it. I love doing Uber. I was having a very difficult time finding a job, especially in today's job market. It's extremely competitive, and ageism does exist, regardless to what some people will say. I had applied for what feels like hundreds of jobs, literally, online and in person, and got nary a whisper from any of them. Like I never applied. They just basically ghosted me. And then when I actually would go in to check on my applications, they looked appalled. Like, why are you here? If we wanted you, we would have called you. I come from the dinosaur ages where we actually would go in and ask to speak to a manager. And yeah, they don't like that anymore. Or very few of them do. Most of them get annoyed because they feel like, look, I don't have time for this. I seen your application online. If I wanted you, I would have called you or texted you. If I didn't, why are you here? Why are you bothering me? That's what I felt like. So anyway, regardless, I'm doing Uber. Anybody can do it. That's the reason I'm doing Uber. Anybody can do Uber as long as your car is a 2011 or newer. You have a valid driver's license and your vehicle is insured and you're over 19. You could be 100. There's no cap on it as far as I'm aware of, but those are the requirements to do Uber. They don't have a waiting list like the other jobs like Instacart and DoorDash, Grubhub. All of those have a waiting list. Uber doesn't, so there's a lot of people doing it. It's very competitive. But here in California, we have Prop 22, which ensures that you will make at least, I think, 120% of minimum wage, as long as you're on the clock, you're, you clocked in on the app and you're actually doing some deliveries. So we make a little bit more, and it's very fortunate. I'm glad to be here doing it. But today I'm going to take you with me. I'll show you how easy it is, and then I'll show you how much I made. Just, if you're curious. I don't normally do the afternoon lunch rushes. Lately I have been, because we went through the summer slump and it was slow, so I was doing both lunch and dinner. But things are starting to pick up. But I had free time and I thought, why not? Let's get out there and make some money. So it's Thursday. I'm getting ready to do the lunch rush. I came a little early because I knew I wanted to film this. And then I'll stay out here for a couple hours, go home, eat dinner, and then come back out this evening. But I just wanted to walk you through it in case you're considering doing it. Like I said, it's fairly easy. You're just going to go in and pick up food, or sometimes I actually do grocery orders, which I prefer because they pay more. But they're usually, anywhere from 3 to 10 items. It's usually not the whole grocery order. If it's a heavy order, which it was the other night, I've only had 3 heavy orders, and it'll tell you if it's going to be heavy, just in case, where you're delivering is upstairs. You might want to know that ahead of time and not accept it if that's going to be a problem. It said heavy. I went through the list real quick. I looked at it, and all that I saw was they had water. And in my mind, I was just thinking, okay, a 24 pack of water. Well, it turned out to be a 40 pack, 16 ounce bottles. So yeah, 40 pounds. I was able to lift it. That wasn't the problem, but it fell off my back seat and kind of got jammed between this seat and the back seat. And I was totally having a hard time pulling it back up. So I did hurt my shoulder, but it's fine now. It only hurt one night. I went to bed and I was tossing and turning. I thought, no, I'm going to have a shoulder injury. And I was really bummed. It's like, when you're older, you worry about those things. It's like, God, because anything you break at this point is going to stay broken for years. You know what I mean? We don't heal like we used to. So I do worry about that. But anyway, so yeah, you can look at the order ahead of time. If it says heavy, just don't accept it if that's a problem. And like I said, I most of my orders aren't. The only things that would be heavy when you're doing grocery orders would be, large packs of water, or like dog food, cat food, the big bags. But otherwise, it's not going to be that heavy. So I do prefer the grocery orders. The food orders obviously are easy. It just tells you what restaurant you go in. You show them your app on your phone, because it'll give the name and number of who you're picking up for. And then they give you the order and punch it in, say you picked it up, and then they give you the address. And when it comes across on the app, it gives you I think 30 seconds to decide whether or not you're going to accept the order. And you can see the address, and you can see, what the order's for and how much it pays per mile. Now, I had heard that you don't want to accept anything under $1.50 per mile in order to cover gas, maintenance, and everything. Somebody has calculated it, and that's what they came up with, the number. So I wasn't taking anything that was less than that, unless it was really slow and I wasn't getting any orders. But for the most part, they're usually in that category. And I was getting to the point where I was only accepting orders that were $2 or more a mile, because it'll tell you, okay, it's 4 miles, you're going to get $8 or $9. I'd be like, okay. But if it came across 4 miles and it said, it was only going to give you like $2.37 or whatever, I'd be like, no, I'm not taking that. So I don't take a lot of orders. I try to keep my miles low. I don't want to put too many miles on my car. But recently I talked to another gentleman who does this, and he made a good point. He's working for DoorDash, and he takes all orders. He takes all the orders, because he said, you're going to get paid regardless. In California, you're getting Prop 22 money once you're on the clock when you accept the order. So, why not take it? You're going to end up getting your $2 a mile. And that never occurred to me. So now I'm going to start accepting all the orders. I'm not going to look at the cost per mile. I'm just going to accept it, and we'll see where we're at in 2 weeks. I'll look at it and see, was it worth my while? How much money did I make? Because the app keeps track of everything. It keeps track of your fares, your tips, your miles and all that stuff, and so you can see how much miles what you're getting paid for and all that stuff. And that's another thing. You go online, you download the Uber app. There's Uber Eats, there's Uber Delivery. Download the Uber Eats app, and it's it'll walk you through it. You might have a few things that you don't understand. I was fortunate. I have a girlfriend that was doing this, and she rode out with me a couple times and made it super easy, because there was a few times where it's like, I don't know what to do here. But there's a number on the app. If you're having problems, you just call them right away and they'll walk you through it, whatever you're having problems with. But I mean, really, it's not going to be that hard. And for the most part, it's been fun. I've been meeting wonderful people. I live in a small town, and I know my way around pretty much. I don't like to go out after dark because I'm getting older. My night vision isn't the greatest. It seems like it's getting somewhat better. I'm having an easier time, but the only problem I have is not everybody turns their lights on at night, and you can't always see the address. So when that happens, I have to go on Google Maps and look it up, because then you can get a picture of the house and you'll know, okay, it's this house or whatever. So that's a tip. If you get somewhere and you cannot see a number and you're not sure, go on Google Maps, type in that address, and it'll give you a picture of the house. So that's been helpful. I do that. There's been a lot of little tips I'm learning. I've been doing this for a few months now. And the nicest part for me is I can work this around my life. I used to have to work my life around my job. And now it's like I go out when I have time. And I try to make time for the dinner rush, at least Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, because those are the busiest days for me. So I always make time. But occasionally I'll go out for the lunch rush, or I might even go out on the weekends if I'm not doing anything. And that's worked out well for me. But I've noticed that you get less orders on the weekends because people are off work. They can go out to eat. They can pick up their own food. But during the work week is when we're our busiest. At least I am. Except Mondays. Sunday and Mondays are usually pretty dead. So those are my definite days off. I very rarely will go out on a Sunday and Monday unless things are really slow, like during the summer slump. I was just trying to pick up orders here and there. But I think we're getting out of that. Things do seem to be picking up. I've been, getting more orders. And I like to work 2 to 3 hours. Occasionally I'll put in a 4-hour shift, but 2 to 3 hours. And I like to make at least, I started out like $50 to $75 a shift, because I figure, $25 an hour, that's decent. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. It gets me out. It keeps me, my driving skills up, because, as we get older, we tend to drive less and you're not as sharp, your responses, but because I'm driving all the time, I feel like that's been helpful. I get to see parts of my area that I didn't even know existed. And that's nice. I meet new people. Some people will give you tips over and above, the fare on the app. When you get there, they'll give you an extra tip. So that's nice. And gets me out of the house. And you don't have to call in sick. If you're sick, you just don't go in that day. You don't have to feel guilty about calling in. And if I wanted to work an 8-hour shift, I could work an 8-hour shift. I know some people that do. They do this full time and they make enough to cover all their bills, their rent, and everything. So I'd like to try that sometime just to see how much money I could make. But the people that do that usually live in busier areas, LA and Vegas. I live in a smaller town. The best thing for me is the small town is a semi-retirement community. So a lot of older folks are no longer able to drive, so they have to pay somebody to pick up their groceries and food occasionally. So it's been very helpful for me. I don't know what it's like in other areas, but I would definitely suggest it if you're just looking for an extra income, you want a little side work. It's not a career, and I wouldn't do it permanently. I say that all the time. My plan is 2 years, because I have a 2-year goal to be debt free and to, add back to our savings, which slowly got depleted. Not completely, but, we need to replenish it in order to retire comfortably. So that's where we're at. How long have I talked? 13 minutes, and I wanted to take you out. So we'll see. We'll see. If it's anything exciting, I'll take you with me, but I'll at least take you out on one or two orders so you can see what it's like. How's that? I'm gonna let you guys go, and I'll bring you back if anything interesting happens. Okay, we got our first order. It's for Taco Bell, and I think it was, I don't remember now. I think it was for like $6.47, but that's okay. It was like 2 miles away, so that's a good order. The nice thing about this order is I was literally parked across the street. You can see Taco Bell's right there. So yeah, I like that when that happens. And I'm delivering in my neighborhood. So if I needed to stop home for anything, I could, but I just left, so I don't need to do that. Man, it's a beautiful day out. I'm glad I came in. I don't usually, like I said, I don't always do the lunch rush, but it is so nice out. Look at that view. Thank you. You too. Have a drink and okay, so that was easy. We got the order. Now we're gonna deliver it, and it's not even 11:30. So the lunch rush hasn't even started yet, and we're already on the clock, so that's good. I'm gonna turn this around so you can see my view. And it says it's only 78 degrees. Oh my God. That's like fall for us. That's unbelievable, because there's been plenty of times where it'll be in the 90s into October. So 78 degrees feels amazing. So yay. Yeah, this order was $6.47 and it's 2.2 miles. These are my favorite kind of orders. In and out. I just went in, the order was ready, grab it. I was already parked right across the street, and like I said, 2.2 miles, and then I'll be back on the boulevard and wait for my next order. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, just the way I like it. Do I want to stop off at home? No. Look at that view. How lovely is that? This is why I like this job. You know, I get to ride around, I can listen to my music, I get to see, you know, how beautiful it is. I'm not cooped up inside. All I'm doing is driving, and it's not even on the freeway, just driving through town. Look at the trees. They look like they're starting to change colors already. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. Probably in about a month. They'll be totally changed. Okay, so it's dinner time now. I did the lunch rush earlier. It was kind of, but the dinner rush is just starting. As you can see, it's starting to get a little dark. I started late tonight because it's just a waste of time coming out here too early. You just end up sitting. So anyway, it's like 6 o'clock. We're getting started. Our first order was a good one. It was almost $10, and it's for 1.1 miles. I want more like that. Okay, let's deliver it. Okay, let's do this. I think it said 1.1 mile or something. Sometimes it says that and it's off a little bit, but usually not too much. Okie dokie artichoke. Just delivered our first order of the night. See if I can remember how to get out of here. It was like a maze. There was a bunch of ducks up here when I came in. Let's see if they're still here. They're on the golf course. This is a cool little area. I think they're on this side of the road. Can you see them? They're gone. Oh well. Look at that pretty moon up there. It's just a sliver, but it's so pretty. Okay, time for our next order. Yep, it's already getting dark out earlier. I hate that. I mean, I like it when I'm at home, but I don't want to stay out after dark usually. Ooh. Yes, 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 I'll take it. Okay, well this was different. I ended up getting 4 orders together, 4 stacked orders, one right after another, which I really like now. I used to hate them. They made me nervous, but now it's not a big deal because they're usually at restaurants close by each other and the delivery is close by. So it made it really easy. The only problems I had, well, the first order I went to pick up, somebody else had picked it up. I went there and, I gave the name and they said, oh, somebody just picked that order up. And I've never had that happen before. I heard it could happen, but that was the first for me. So I went on the app and it gives you a place where it says, somebody else picked up the order, which I press, but then it said, do you want to cancel this order? Well, of course, but now I'm wondering, is that going to count against me as if I canceled it? I'm going to have to check the app when I go home and find out. So that kind of made me nervous. Wasn't happy about that. And then, I don't know where I'm at. I don't know. But then the next 3 orders, one was from a restaurant and 2 were from ice cream places. And that makes me nervous because I don't want the ice cream to melt, because they won't give you the address of each order until you deliver the one before, right? So the very last order was for the ice cream. It was the last one. Luckily, I have a cooler, so I just stuck it in the cooler, but I had 2 orders for ice cream. The other one was actually a big order. But anyway, so yeah, I just went up into an area I have never been in before. My camera's slipping, didn't realize. I'd never been in, and it's dark, and I could not see the addresses. They were kind of like, not townhouses. They were little houses in a circle. It was like a village. It's called something village. It was kind of odd. And there was no numbers. Nobody had numbers out. I'm looking around and I had to go on Google Maps, and even that wasn't totally helpful the way these were laid out. Luckily, the girl came out that was waiting for her order. Otherwise, I might have ended up dropping it off at the wrong house. So I was very grateful that she came out and picked it up. And then Yeah, that was the last order. The two before that were fine. Those, went easy, but it was just the last one I was having a difficult time. And I actually thought it was neat because I went to an ice cream place I didn't even know existed in my town. It's called, what was it called? The Dalai Lama. And man, that place was hopping. It was packed, and from what I could see, there was only one girl behind the counter. I felt so sorry for her, but she had my order ready when I got there, so I appreciated that. And yeah, got 4 stacked orders together. Even though that one got canceled, I think I get paid for it. I'm pretty sure I do, because I went and picked it up. I went to pick it up, so I was on the clock. I had pressed, accept, and I think that's how that works. So we'll find out. And I'll go this way. Yeah, so hopefully I get paid for that order. And then I had one even before I got those. So I got 5 orders tonight, and they were all good orders. They were, close by. So yeah, it was a good night. So when I go home, I'll take a snapshot and I'll show you what I made for the day. So don't switch off just yet.